Don't wait until you get pregnant to start cleaning up your diet.
Pregnancy cravings happen during that period. How do you manage that? How do you stay on track?
Different approaches can help different people.
You help women lose weight, build muscle. When you go to this root cause mentality where you're able to take out some of those toxins that are hurting everybody and add some nutrient dense things, it's actually like a really simple formula. I'd love to know how that affects your day to day. How do you take all of these available options and what do you do in your daily life? This is Built Human. I'm Andrew. This is John. We've got Tati with us today. The world keeps moving faster, but somehow our health keeps getting left behind. We're working that out in real time. We're questioning what we've been told, amplifying what actually works. The goal is to feel like a human being and stay there despite all the forces working against us. So let's get into it today. Super excited to welcome Tati to the show, at Meatbase Tati. Tati, you're obviously a thought leader in the space, an online coach. You help women lose weight, build muscle, support their hormonal health. And I guess you're also building a little human. The show is Built Human. So we're really excited for you to be our first guest and would love to have you introduce yourself briefly while we get into it.
Yeah, well, thank you for all of that. I'm really, really happy to be here. So I just appreciate you guys asking for me to be on. I'm very, I'm just looking forward to it. So thank you. But yeah, you've kind of told exactly what I'm about pretty much. I've been carnivore or living a mostly carnivore lifestyle for about 6 years now. I am a health and fitness coach, like Andrew said, and I do help women and men as well in the just overall just getting to be healthier and living a more nutrient dense lifestyle. And so that ranges from a full carnivore diet, strict lines. It could be ketovore, it could be meat based, it could be whole foods with a meat based approach. Anything in the like animal based, like meat forward diets, that's what I help with. That's what I'm most passionate about. And I think that's the healthiest way to go about living anywhere in that realm. Just kind of fit it to your needs. And I basically love that. And I am pregnant. I am currently 28 weeks pregnant, and I have been growing a little human inside me, which is amazing. And so, yeah, that's kind of a brief little I make YouTube videos and Instagram and just love this stuff. So I just excited to have this conversation today.
Incredible. Tati, thank you for introducing yourself. It was great meeting you at Meatstock, right? Which at the time of this recording was just a few weeks ago. And you were a speaker on stage. So why don't we kick things off with you, and we'll talk about updates. How was Meatstock, especially for you, talking to people, being on stage with the Young Maha panel, and then Andrew, we'll kick it to you right after and talk about our experience at our first conference.
Okay, perfect. I was super excited going into it, of course, going into speaking on the Young Maha panel, because that was the whole reason, like the whole motivation why I was going. And it was just very, very cool to just like think about being asked to speak on the Young Maha panel. Like how incredible is that? Is something I would never thought of, never put that together. That would be an option. And so I was just super excited leading up to it. And then just before going on, I got a little nervous just kind of talking with the girls back there. I was just kind of like, oh, wow, there's like 1,600 people or so out there. Like at any time, it could be really full. And so it was just like, okay, get over it. And then Dr. Sally Norton, she came by and she was going to speak before or after, I'm not sure, but she was right there in that backstage spot. And then she was just talking to us and she was, are you girls nervous? And we're like, a little bit, yes, no, like some of us different answers. And she's like, don't be nervous. Just turn that fear like into a love for, sharing your story. It could help someone else, and just turning that fear into love. And I was like, thank you. That is exactly what we needed to hear. Awesome. What I needed to hear. And I was like, okay, great. Let's go into it. I'm just excited now. And so that helped with like any nerves. And it was just super fun to be up there and with the other ladies, like sharing my journey, my story, just a glimpse of it, but it was just super cool. And I was like, I can do this again. Like, this is super fun. And then being able to like talk to people who were in the crowd who came up to me and was like, oh, like I appreciated what you said or whatever they said. All the kind words was very sweet. And they definitely didn't have to come up to me, but they did. And so that was very fun to have those conversations and talk to them about their, just kind of their testimony, their story a little bit. And overall, Meatstock was amazing, getting to meet all the people I've talked to for a bit, like on social media or followed, and just like meet face to face, because it's totally different than like social media and what you post. Like you're not talking to a human
Yeah,
exactly. And so it just makes it like it levels it up. Like talking with you guys, like was you guys are real people, obviously, but it's like
Yeah.
that real connection was like that's what's memorable. And so I appreciated all
totally.
that.
Like, and that getting on stage with all of that emotion in your body and that fear, turning that into to love, like Sally said, that's so amazing. I When I get on stage, I used to have this just shock, this shell shock. We speak at some technology conferences sometimes, and somebody once told me in a similar like mentoring way that there's very little difference between the emotion of fear and the emotion of excitement. And if you can kind of just reframe it in
Mm,
your mind, it actually feels very similar in your body, kind of like a roller coaster. Like you're kind of afraid of the roller coaster, but
interesting.
you're kind of excited because it's a roller
I like
coaster.
that.
And so every time
Yeah.
I'm about to go on, I'm like, oh, this icky feeling, like, let's have fun with it, you know? And it's the only thing that gets me through because I just get those emotions in my body when I'm gonna do it. So I was sitting in the stage looking at you guys, especially all the young Maha crowd, and going, they're doing so well, you know, just so well for speaking to this many people. So definitely it was memorable. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. The other ladies did an amazing job as well. It's very fun to meet them and hear what they had to say
Completely
too.
agree. I think one thing that stood out for me, especially in comparing your panel to a lot of the other panels, was the difference in how like the passion for diet and treating it as medicine, as real medicine, spans many age groups, right? Like I think when we started building animal base, we had this assumption that it's a younger generation push, and that like everyone wants to just change the way that they grow up because we're caught in a dehumanized world, right? Like with the increase of AI and technology, and we're constantly caught online. So we had this theory that your panel was like the leaders, and you are very much the leaders, right? And but then we also had the polar, not the polar opposite, but the other age groups too that are like Kiltz. Dr. Kiltz is a great example, right? Like he's 70 something years old, practicing carnivore and using it as medicine, and talking to people in the crowd. One of my biggest takeaways, and actually, Andrew, you helped me realize this, was a lot of people using it to treat conditions, which we hadn't thought about, especially since we are all young. So that was like a really eye-opening moment, I think, when walking the floor, talking to everyone that was listening to your panel, and like just talking about animal base and what we're building as well. I found it really interesting.
It was very cool to hear all the different testimonies from like when you just stand in line with the people or you're waiting just like over you wanted to try a
Yeah.
certain sample out there and people just start talking about their journeys and how much weight they've lost on carnivore, how they got their life back and just how they get to be the grandparents that they want to be and the wife that they want to be or the mom. Like it's so cool how changing food is like we do need to treat food as medicine because it is. It if we come to it that way, like so many different things can be healed or even just made better. Like, why would you not want your situation to be made better? I don't think we ever go through life saying, "Oh, I wish it was worse." Like,
Mm,
no, we always wish it was a
yeah.
little better. And so we can just even make it 15% better. Some people make it 100% better, obviously. But any step towards a healthier version of yourself that is, in the most natural way, like I say, why not try it? So
No,
yeah,
it's
it's awesome. Stories are so
that stood
powerful.
out to me too. And the way you describe your practice, I was very appreciative actually, because we went to a conference that I thought would be very rigidly about only eating meat, given like the name Meatstock and a lot of the carnivore community. But it was amazing that people are really just trying to do what is best for the individual based on their goals, and trying to do something that is right, not necessarily a means to an end like a traditional diet. I mean, the whole thing started with glyphosate. Look how glyphosate has riddled our food supply, and GMOs. And then what was really interesting to me is the inflammation and the deregulation of like denaturing proteins and genetic expression, all these things, they manifest differently in different people. And for one person it could ruin their metabolism and they could get really fat and large and obese, and for somebody else they could just struggle to put on any weight at all and they could be a stick figure. And then for others, it manifests as autoimmune disorders. And for others yet, maybe some skin issues or other like issues that display differently. And so when you go to this root cause mentality where you're able to take out some of those toxins that are hurting everybody and add some nutrient dense things, it's actually like a really simple formula. And I was really just appreciative of how everyone seemed to want to get to that root cause and not necessarily so attached to like one specific way you have to do it.
Yep.
So I think it translates really well to your practice. And I'd love to getting into a little bit more about you. I'd love to know how that affects your day to day. Like how do you take all of these available options and what do you do in your daily life?
Um, First of all, yeah, I'm fascinated about what you said too, like how different approaches can help different people. And I think it's a very powerful thing to realize that like not it's not a one size fits all, but sure, carnivore is like probably the most optimal in my opinion, but an animal-based diet could fit you guys better. You know, it could keep you on a healthier diet or whatever. But for me, like, are you asking for me like my style of eating, or like what exactly are you
Yeah,
asking?
how do you approach your day-to-day style of eating? How strict are you? And like did it change during the pregnancy or like have you always kind of had the same habits?
So it did change a little bit, I would say. I used to be like really, really, really strict carnivore, and then I've gone through little phases of when I did like an animal-based stint, and then I've done like another animal-based stint. And so the majority of the 6 years that I've been on this way of eating has been mostly a strict carnivore. But there have been like a couple of stints of those animal-based times or meat-based times or whatever. But now, like leading up to pregnancy, I was quite strict carnivore because I wanted to just make sure everything was optimal. My hormones were optimal. Like I wasn't adding any or too many carbs that were inflaming me, or like any like hidden inflammatory like oils that like maybe if we go out to eat, I maybe a couple years ago I would have been okay if they had like a little bit of something, but tried my best to
Yeah.
like work around it. Now and leading up to pregnancy, I was like hard stop on anything extra, like getting down to the nitty gritty of there will be no seed oils in my food. There will be no like extra spices that I don't want or I don't do well with, or like any ingredients like in whole milk. I would have maybe like back in the day, I would have like a latte and I wouldn't care if it had that vitamin D3 in there. Now and leading up to pregnancy, I was like, I don't want anything synthetic in my body. And so that's kind of where I went. I went from strict carnivore to like mostly carnivore, but everything was a strict, like natural
Yeah.
ingredient. And so I did like, so I drink like raw milk versus like you can only find so many whole milks or whatever that don't have that vitamin D3. And I appreciate raw milk for all that it is. And so I love drinking raw milk. And so I increased a little bit with, um, but oh, sorry, carnivore. I eat all the same meats except I don't do really bacon anymore, and I minimize like processed meats like beef, sausage links, like breakfast
Yeah.
meats, things like that, because of the like nitrates and added ingredients in there and spices, and sometimes it gives me like bloating, and so I just don't want to do that. And then all things dairy, I pick like the higher quality dairy when I drink it. I make sure there's no other ingredients, and then there's no funny business in the like enzymes or the um like cultures or anything like that. And then I did add like a small amount of fruit and a small amount of like fermented veggies of any sort. So like sauerkraut was a huge one that I added, especially in weeks 1 through like 12. I've kind of slowed down the sauerkraut now. But yeah, I would have like a small amount of fruit that I just enjoyed. I craved a little bit more. I craved more like raw milk. So I was just craving a little bit of extra. And so I just decided to fill it with some natural like fruit, a little bit of some fermented veg, and then some raw milk, and not caring about the quantity of how much dairy I was having.
That's super interesting. I'm really interested to hear, like, obviously the transition from carnivore to mostly carnivore, right? And when you talk about introducing fermented veggies like sauerkraut, like how does that react with your body both before pregnant and out during pregnant? How did you react, and how do you know, okay, this works for me, or maybe this won't work for me? I need to take a step back.
Yeah. So I feel like so rewind my like whole health journey. It was centered around being lactose intolerant
Got it.
from when I was 9 to like 19. And so through all that whole time, obviously my gut was inflamed. I didn't have a strong gut barrier. Like it was just causing so many problems. Obviously, like it's not natural to be lactose intolerant, I think. And so there was something being triggered. There was a root cause that we needed to find and heal up. And so taking all that time, like 5 years at the time of a mostly strict carnivore diet, healed up my gut really nicely to where when I introduce foods, it doesn't affect me too bad unless it's something that is like absolutely a chemical, like seed oil ridden. If I were to ever, like a couple years ago, I went and was like, okay, I'll just enjoy the sides at our family Thanksgiving or it was New Year's or something like that. And I got this massive, massive, massive headache like that night. And then another year later, I did the same thing. And same thing, I got like a massive headache, and it was just so, just like, okay, clearly it's the food because nothing else has changed. And so I reacted to like the harsh chemicals because they are chemicals. But not so much when I add like sauerkraut. Sauerkraut was just like it was easy and nice. Like I enjoyed that. And so, um, yeah,
Did you have the
no reactions
like
that were too deep.
some of the speakers on stage talking about pregnancy, like Michaela Peterson was talking about meat aversion? Was it less meat aversion for you during your first trimester kind of thing, or and it was more just like craving some additional things? Was that it?
So for me, there was no meat aversion.
That's
There
good.
was no like morning
Nice.
sickness. There was no like feeling gross, feeling icky. Like I've loved, loved, loved being pregnant so much. I could not like share that enough. Like I am so
That's
happy that
awesome.
I'm pregnant. I'm so joyful and like love that my body is like growing a baby and it's not sucking the life out of me. Like it's not like my life is over, anything like that. I feel
Yeah.
quite the opposite. It's like such an amazing, rewarding feeling. And so no, I didn't get any of that. I am so thankful for that, and I just yeah, it's no meat aversions. If anything, like maybe yeah, the preference of like I went really hard, like craving eggs. I would say in weeks 1 through 8, maybe a little bit through going to 12, and then still loved steak, still loved like chuck roasts, and then when I hit like week 12, I was like, oh my goodness, I want, like, give me a big ground beef burger. Like, that's what I want. And I was like, okay, we can slow down on the eggs. Like, I want just a bunch of burger patties. And so, like no meat aversions. It just was like a craving. And I think it
Nice.
was like, because all the choline is in the egg. And you need that when you're like growing that baby in the early stages. And I think your body, when you heal your natural hunger cues, it'll tell you what you need, I think. And so, I think that's where that shift was coming from. It was like, okay, we need these nutrients. I'm gonna crave it, and then I listened to my hunger cue or the signal, and then I ate what I was, signaled to
Yeah,
eat.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. And I know you like to share recipes too around the diet, especially how you're tailoring it these days. I think I saw one that was, you do 3 burger patties, you do your pepper jack cheese, you have an avocado, and then you have your carnivore bun. How do you make your carnivore bun? I'd love to hear that.
That one was a while ago. That one I made with pork panko.
Wow,
I did an egg, like beef gelatin, and I think that was it.
that's it.
That's the problem with when I was posting, when I made those videos, that was like my 14 weeks pregnant or 13 weeks pregnant or whatever it was. And now I'm 28 weeks pregnant, and I didn't write that recipe down entirely, but I want to refine that recipe because I want it to be a little bit fluffier. So
Well, even better. What are you
we'll
experimenting
we'll
with
figure it
now?
out.
Is there anything that you've eaten over the last week? Eaten in you just got back from Florida too, as well, that you were just like it's breaking your mind.
Like what, like
Yeah,
recipe wise, or like, am I changing
yeah.
anything different? Like
Either or.
both. Okay. Um, recipe wise. Yesterday, what did I make? I made something. Oh, I'm working on like taco shells
That's fun.
constantly because I want like, the cottage cheese and egg one, like that's good. The carnivore chicken one where it's just chicken and egg is good. And then the hard shell cheese taco where it's just cheese and it's really hard shell. I know that I can make something better.
Awesome.
And so I play with like cottage cheese and then like gelatin, egg, and then like some sort of collagen powder, but I haven't like nailed down like this is the texture that I want. And so I played with a tortilla recipe last night and I was like, this is okay, but it's breaking a little bit too much for my liking. And so I think that one's going to be something I'm going to be working on for a
Nice.
little
Nice.
bit. um, but yeah, I like to just experiment with things like that. And I've been making like crab cakes, which they're not really crab cakes. They are tuna crab cakes. So there's no crab in them. I just use a can of tuna and some egg, pork panko, a little bit of butter, a couple other like if you want to put like seasonings and spices, I do like fresh dill and then like a squeeze of lemon, and then I mix it all together with that tuna. And then you can either do sour cream, a little tablespoon of sour cream or a little bit of mayo, and you just mix it all together, and then you create little like pucks,
Oh my
hockey
God.
pucks, and then you just fry them, and they're delicious. You can add some cheese in there, and literally so good. We were talking about it yesterday. I'm like, we should make some.
That
Tati,
sounds
it's
incredible.
too early in the day for you to be making me hungry. Okay, we should have recorded this episode at like 5 p.m. or something. This is not cool.
12:30 for me, so this is perfect. I
Sorry.
gotta try the recipe right
Yeah,
away.
you're. This is your pre-lunch interview. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's. And you said like what you said about satiety signals too. Like
yeah,
that's always been my issue is when I kind of devolved early on with just so many bad things put into my body, all the stresses of life too, and all that. Like I just couldn't stop eating, and that's why I gained a lot of weight through the years. Is those broken satiety signals? So it's like going on an elimination like carnivore to heal those, and even just these other things we add back in that are high nutrient density. Like I think that's been the journey for me in a nutshell, is like how do I fix those satiety signals in a way that doesn't require like a GLP-1
yeah.
external intervention kind of thing. The whole food is medicine. And I guess that'd be an interesting segue too. Like how long have you been on this journey, and how long have you known to eat this way? Like when did that switch happen? How young were you?
Let's see. Well, that was like 6 years ago. So 6.5 years ago. Let's say that was like 22 around that time frame. So I'm 28 now, and so yeah, like 22. But even before then, I was like just kind of searching for something else to like feel better. I was always the health one in my family, to where like, oh, she's the healthy one, eating her rice and chicken back then and getting those, greens in and
Classic.
whatnot. And so before that 22 age, ever since I pretty much graduated high school, so around like 18, I was really like into bodybuilding and cleaner eating. And so I just kind of always had this like mentality of I should stay healthy no matter what it is. And then so I just kind of figured it out. And I was like 22 is what I think it was. Um, I just was like, okay, like I shouldn't have to take a lactase enzyme to handle dairy. I shouldn't be lactose intolerant and all these things. And so really, really, really like went in on like, okay, how do you kill your gut? And so carnivore diet was the perfect thing. And so I just wanted to figure out like, how can I have food and not have these reactions to food? Because obviously it's either something in my food or something in my gut is
Yeah.
wrong. And so just kind of dealt with both of those issues at the same time of just, okay, let's take it back. Meat is supposed to be the thing that we don't get like inflamed from or any like reactions from. And so it's like, let's just go down to the basics of this. Sounds crazy. I don't think it'll work, whatever, but let's go for it. And then ended up feeling really good really fast. Like the bloating decreased. Ended up trying to implement more dairy and such like 6 to 9 months or so after. And it was like perfect, no complaints at all. Whereas before, like I would be like my stomach would be in pain. I would be going to the bathroom and just not pleasant. And so that was just a huge change.
That's
Um,
incredible
yeah.
because I think one of the things I've noticed is, of course, the crowd is going to tend to skew older in this community because most of the time people end up having to have some disaster in their lives before they start asking questions that go beyond conventional thought patterns and accepted wisdom. And it's really hard to need to have to ask those questions if you don't have something really bad in your life happen to you. So for all these younger people, it's like, well, how do you get them to want to proactively question everything as opposed to wait until they have to react to something bad happening to them. And I keep coming back to this idea of it's the pursuit of truth. And if you kind of realize that you're pursuing truth and you're really just trying to understand and question, then you might be led there, kind of like you can lead the horse to water but not make it drink. Like if you make the horse thirsty kind of thing, if you have this pursuit of knowledge and truth and you really want to know, like that's how I found a lot of these younger people are just they're leading themselves there, and otherwise they end up just having to wait for a disaster. And so it's just so good to hear how you did that. I mean, that's really what you did. You just kept asking those questions and you were called to find those answers as opposed to like having some disaster, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like I could have waited till I got like a really severe leaky gut or something
Yeah.
like that, or if I was living a lifestyle where I didn't have a lot of fat in my life, and that's not good for humans in general, but as a woman who's, in their younger ages, trying to be, fertile for babies in the future, like having a low fat diet is not good for fertility. And so if I would have stayed on that trend of eating tilapia for breakfast and eating white rice always and never using real butter, like using the spray cans, like not to say the chemicals, like those are bad, but like low fat diet in general, how it affects the woman's body, I could have had issues maybe with
Yeah.
fertility or, things like that. Like I just had I continued, then yes, I would have came across like something devastating. And it's like, why not try now? Why not fix things now so I don't even have to chance that? Like, anything can happen, even if we try to be our best. But why not take that time to be the best steward of your body is kind of how I'll always look at it. Like I can be dealt a series of terrible cards, but I'm going to try to be the best, steward. I'm going to be the best, like, okay, how can I do this in the most natural way? How can I take this on in a gracious way or graceful way that's like leading towards some sort of healthier life? Um, I just, I think that scares me too much to wait until it's that time. I don't know how like people don't get eaten up by that fear of like, I'm just gonna keep eating these bag of chips, these bag of like literal chemicals that are causing issues and cancers and disease and all that stuff. How they can sit there and just not hear or let that fear be like, you should probably stop because of that. But it's just like, no, like they're consumed in it. And so that part
Yeah.
motivates me. Like, I don't want to even be in that position. So I'm going to do what I
Yeah.
should do to try not to be
Tati,
there.
one of the most powerful things that you and your husband said to me when we first met each other at Meatstock was listen to your body, whether something works or doesn't work, just as long as you're listening to your body and you're paying attention to it, acknowledging what you need or what you don't need, like that is going to ultimately give you the most direction in life. And you could need a carnivore diet. You could need an animal based diet. You could maybe not need both. Everyone's a little bit different, right? Based on how they're raised and where they come from. But obviously there's optimal nutrition, and based on what you need, or again, definitely what you don't need, you will feel that. And to provide an anecdote, actually, I was filming a video for Animal Base, and I had to buy Pringles as part of it, which is just like, oh, this is everything that's in Pringles, but realistically, you should just buy the potato chips that is, Rosie's chips, that is potato, that is tallow, that is salt, and that's it. And so it's funny, I'm going through all the stuff that's in
Mhm.
Pringles, and of course, I'm just like, oh, well, I had to open it for this. Like, I'm a lot newer in my journey. I'm a lot less strict than you, a lot less strict than Andrew. But I was like, I've opened it. Let me have a couple. Oh my God, I haven't had Pringles in so long. And when you talk about like, gut going crazy, needing to go to the bathroom, it hit almost immediately. And I'm like, how did I grow up on this stuff? That I had to
Crazy.
be conditioned to get used to all these chemicals and toxins. It was crazy. It's like it's a mind-opening experience when you take a long, long break and then go back to something. And like I'm honestly embarrassed to admit that on
Yeah.
the podcast here, but it's going to help someone to know that I cheated a little bit and it was a bad idea, and don't do it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's actually a powerful tool for people who do struggle and like fall back. Like, okay, let's just make sure that you last like 30 days or whatever,
Yeah.
60 days. and not cheat. But then they have this like mentality like, oh, I just want to have that one meal again. I just want to have that one meal again, one meal again. But after the time of like taking the time to heal and to like get it all out of your system,
Yeah.
then they go and try that food and it like gives them like a really bad gut punch and they're just like, oh my gosh, my stomach hurts so bad. Like I'm never doing that again. And that is the biggest motivator on not doing it again. And so it can be used as a helpful tool for sure in someone's journey,
Big
as long
time.
as they don't go and like just start eating that way again. But I think it's very good for people to realize that yeah,
Yeah.
food does hurt you if you eat bad food. So
Exactly right. Curious pivot for you and curious question. So again, like you're pregnant. I've obviously never had the pleasure of experiencing that. But I hear a lot about pregnancy cravings, right? Like my sister-in-law has just gone through a pregnancy and birth of her first son was in December, but pregnancy cravings happen during that period, whether it's for chocolate or like anything that is typically a bad food for you. You, I wouldn't be surprised if you had very different pregnancy cravings. What do you crave? How do you manage that? How do you stay on track?
what I crave, it just depends because there was times where I craved like butter or like more fat in my
That's
food.
awesome.
And so then I would just add like extra shavings of butter or I would just like nibble on it because pre-pregnancy, like I wasn't like a really big like eater of a stick of butter, just only when I like randomly craved it and it was like rare. But like pregnancy and such, like I've craved more fat from like the butter sticks or from like cream, like raw cream. Love like that is probably my biggest craving throughout pregnancy is raw cream. Like whether I drink it straight up, whether I warm it up a little bit, froth it up, or make like ice cream out of it, like the egg yolk um, and like cream ice cream. And I will allow myself to splurge and do a little bit of organic vanilla bean in there. And it is quite phenomenal. And it's just that alone is so good, like the fattiness of it. So, and then like fattier, like steaks, like I've loved eating the fat on the steaks or like the marrow. Like I've already loved all that stuff before, but it was just a little extra. Like I was like, ooh, because literally I can go for raw milk and like the cream of it is just so delicious and like that's my main craving I'd say. But I didn't crave anything like Slurpees or anything I've had in the past like that, like too much. If I really wanted something, like that's why I introduced
Yeah.
fruit. And so like or reintroduced fruit is I would have a little bowl of fruit with my yogurt, my whole milk yogurt bowl or something like that. And that's kind of how I dealt with cravings.
Yeah.
Like went fat first, and then if I wanted a little more, then I would go for the fruit. And then if some of the meals needed a little extra, then there was the sauerkraut. So
I know science is very limited in this space, but it almost sounds like firsthand your diet or what you love most about your diet that you've been practicing, 5, 6 years ahead of the pregnancy, influence your cravings, which it sounds highly productive for you and your soon to be child. And so like one more question on this topic is I'm sure someone out there will listen to this interview and be pregnant or soon to become pregnant on their own path and curious about how they can optimize and feel all the joy that you're feeling and crave all the right foods that you're craving. If you had to bestow your wisdom onto that woman, what would you say to them?
I would say don't wait until you get pregnant to start cleaning up your diet because that is the biggest thing I think with people is we just wait until we're pregnant or we wait until we get that positive pregnancy test done. And it's like, no, like you want kids somewhat soon. Just start being healthier now because you're creating an environment that baby is going to live in. Like if you just wait till randomly getting pregnant and some people do that on accident and that's fine, like whatever. But if you're intentionally going into it like trying to be a healthier individual for your body through pregnancy, like don't wait until you get pregnant. To me, it just makes more sense to make sure my gut is completely healed. Am I doing anything that's inflaming my body? Am I making sure that I implement like appropriate things for like going for walks, like put that into my routine before I get pregnant, before I do get a little bit more tired. Um, implement moving my body in whatever way that I'm going to be happy with and start don't like start pregnancy like, okay, I ate processed food or just the American food or even just whole foods altogether, but I don't feel well. And then like go into pregnancy, like having to cut out so many things. That's just not good to have that big stress on your body either. Going through pregnancy, you already are now under a stress. It's not like awful, but you want to just kind of take it and ease into it. And so that you're not dealing with all the different eliminations while you're pregnant, I would rather like work up to it and build a strong foundation to where it's like, I'm confident that I know how to grocery shop. I'm confident that I know what foods to make, how to make this food. Don't make yourself like extra stressed because of the all the different unknowns. So just deal with it little by little, leading up to it, and become healthier every single day. And then, once you try, like I hope it goes well for you, whoever that is out there. I just, yeah, pregnancy is amazing. I just hope you enjoy it like I do.
You've had such a wealth of knowledge and tips and tools and methods. I'm wondering when you serve your clientele and I guess transitioning a bit to your practice, how when people come to you, like what are they typically doing? Are they aware of any of this already and just struggling, or do you actually have to kind of educate them on some of the basic tenets, or what? Walk us through that journey a little bit.
Well, thankfully now a lot of the people come from like an Instagram or from my YouTube, and so they have watched some of my videos, or they're just at least acclimated to a meat-based, just a nutrient-dense lifestyle already, and so they all usually know that I'm into a meat-forward diet. And they come to me usually with like issues of I'm borderline type 2 diabetes, or I'm just overweight. I can never lose weight. I just get like I fall off all the time because I'm never satisfied. And of course, if you just make yourself not eat any fat and eat the bodybuilding lifestyle, you won't be satisfied. I have low energy and like all these different things where they're like true, like they have a root cause of something going on and they have this issue and it's really bothering them. They come to me saying, I have this. I would love to like just talk to you and see like, is there a pathway we can take that would help it? And so it's usually a lot of people with issues of some sort, autoimmune issues, things like that. And we just kind of like, okay, are you the type of person that we are just going to jump right into it? Or do we need to ease into it? And so then we just kind of build out a plan and talk to them and see what they need as a person, as someone who's going to be accountable for them. Are they going to be accountable on their own? And just kind of build out a really just integrated plan that is going to help with their specific need. But yeah, it comes from all sorts of different issues that they have.
What kind of accountability things do you do? Are you in pretty constant communication with a lot of your clients, like day to day?
Yeah, I try to be as much as possible. Um, but as you get to know people, you get to know like some don't want to be bothered as much, some need it every single day, or some like are good with just that one video call a week or whatever it may be, or just like a quick text, hey, how's it going? Good, bad, like a quick little update. Okay, do you need an extra call? Like, do we need help on a call? Do we need to like figure out something? Do you need to have um, as much of a treat meal as we can in our like uh, measures, I guess, and just try to like see what kind of person I'm talking to basically and
Yeah.
decide, okay, do we need to talk every day? Do we need to talk once a week, once every other week? It just kind of depends on the person. But yeah, the video calls are the huge part of it all, I think.
Phenomenal. That's awesome. I think it's really powerful that you're able to take your knowledge and bestow it onto others. And like this is why we have things like the thought leader directory on our website too, is to take people like you that are so inspired by like their own health journey that they need to and want to help and assist everyone else, right? And like not everyone knows where to look for the people who are practicing, preaching, and showing you exactly what works for them and how to be unique in that journey. So it's really refreshing. It's really refreshing. We hope to be just
Yeah.
a fraction of that in and of our own right with our own journeys. But you've been a powerful mentor, and it's very clear for those who were not in attendance at Meatstock while you were invited on stage and chatting through your journey and all that. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys just giving me a extra microphone to talk about it because it's truly something I'm very passionate about. And I hope to just even have a conversation with someone about carnivore, even if they don't want me as their coach, like just want to have a conversation about just a nutrient dense life. And so in the streets, we'll like randomly run into people who are curious. And so it's just something that I love to talk about. I can talk about all day.
Amazing. Fantastic. That, I think, actually is a really good segue when we talk about nutrient density and your pregnancy, to go to our under the microscope segment. So what I'll do here is I'll actually pull up the study that was just conducted, or not just conducted, but a study by the British Foundation. It's titled "Most Women Enter Pregnancy Deficient in Their Nutrients. The nutrients their baby needs most, and plant-based diets make it worse." So I'll bring up this the summary of the actual paper, but to condense it a little bit is a lot of women in today's day and age seem to be nutrient deficient as they head into pregnancy, as the title suggests, right? Roughly 34% of women aged 19 to 65 actually have an iron deficiency or an iodine deficiency or folic acid or vitamin D deficiency. How does this make you feel, knowing that there's studies being conducted that are focusing on the nutrient density of the carrier themselves, the woman who is pregnant?
Yeah, well, it's awesome that more light is being shown on like you do need to be eating more of a nutrient dense diet. And yeah, it does lead to meat and eggs, especially, and even dairy is super good. Like all of those have such good like vitamins, minerals, nutrients that your body needs through pregnancy and needs more of because you are pregnant. And so there are just so many things like folate you can get from your meat, and then all the B vitamins you can get from your meat, choline, and like all these extra things or all these necessities that you get from just meat and eggs alone. Not even if you don't want to do organs, that's fine. But just that alone is like such a huge block of nutrients, and it's amazing. So that makes me happy that more and more studies are coming out, and more people are realizing that you can change the way you feel or go into pregnancy more optimally by eating more meat and such.
So the last thing I think I would say about this study is it's really cool to see that we're opening up the world of pregnancy in science and actually getting closer to whole foods. I think for a long time it has been touted that animal meats, red meats in particular, are bad, and especially bad for people growing two humans. So I think it is really nice to see the transition of vegetable deficiency and growing a new human. So with that, we'll kick it off from this final read. I'll stop sharing my screen now, and we'll close out our session here, Tati. And we typically like to close with two very quick segments. One is called What We're Testing, which is anything new that we're introducing to our diet. So I know you mentioned sauerkraut earlier. You can reuse that if you'd like. There's diet, there's movement, there's wellness, whatever you like. And then we'll finish with our just et cetera, which is anything else going on. So Andrew, Tati, who wants to start?
John, I know what you're testing. You're about to go make some tuna crab cakes.
Yeah, I'm testing that immediately.
Or for you, they should call them crabby cakes. So
I'm not that.
I recently posted them on my YouTube on a short. So if you want to like go through a little more details, I think I put some of the details.
Let's
down
go.
below, so.
Let's go. Amazing. Great plug. I'm doing it.
Perfect.
Amazing.
I'll guess add just the occasional like fruit or berries, because sauerkraut isn't as common as like the little bit of fruit and berries fruit. So that's my newest inclusion.
Amazing. Andrew?
I have been playing around mostly with routines like these days. So I converted our garage into a gym. So we rolled like rubber on the concrete, and don't have it fully decked out yet. So haven't put any videos or anything because we need to get a rack and some dumbbells. But we have a treadmill, we've got a bench, and we've got some dumbbells and some rehab equipment for rehabbing my shoulder after surgery and stuff like that. So I've been playing around with attacking some of that movement earlier in the day. Usually my brother and I go to the gym after the work day, and we're already just exhausted from all the meetings and all the work. And It's been nice to play around a little bit now that it's so accessible. You just walk downstairs and then bam, you can force yourself to just get on the treadmill. But just trying to play with that routine a bit and see how that treats me.
Amazing. Amazing. And then our final segment here, et cetera, which we treat as sacred on the show, which is anything not animal based, not carnivore, not health and wellness that's going on in your lives. This is where, Tati, full disclosure, Andrew and I tend to talk about hockey a lot, but my Bruins are out of the playoffs, so I can't talk about hockey anymore. He's still in the playoffs, so I don't want to talk about hockey
Let's go,
anymore.
dude. Tonight's game 5. And your group chat for Marshy's bachelor party, they were chirping me about getting your sports bets in on the Minnesota Wild who were playing, but that kind of backfired pretty quickly last couple nights ago. So that was great. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that's the et cetera for the crowd. And for you, Tati, we are headed on my bachelor party tomorrow. I get married in just a few weeks, so we're breaking some animal based lifestyles and celebrating in Charleston. So I'm excited. I've never been before. Yeah. So that's what's going on in our life, and Andrew's coming along with me. So we'll be on a similar flight tomorrow.
Oh, it's awesome. I hope you guys have so much fun. Congrats again to you, John.
Thank you. It's exciting. It's hard to believe we're 4 weeks away.
Enjoy. Remember what I said. Enjoy every single second of it because it goes way too fast.
Yes, you and your husband were like really inspirational, and we're chatting about it. And I've thought about it every single day. What you guys have said to me is every single moment, like just embrace it. And I've woken up every single day just like with so much more energy because of it. Because I'm looking forward to that day, and I feel like I'm living it leading up instead of just anticipating it and living through that one day. So I'll report back on how that works. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. I can't wait to see any like pictures or anything like that. So.
Amazing. Thank you. Awesome.
Well, what do you have going on, Tati? Maybe not something as crazy as us or any hockey. One more for me. I'm watching From, the TV series. Can't wait. Like every week, I'm like, when is the damn episode out? So I don't know. Little things.
No, I mean, my life is pretty routine in like the best way possible. We go on our lovely walks. We go to the gym. We eat good food, and we hang out with each other, and sometimes have family. He has a big family. I have family that's local, and so it's pretty much centered around all of that and all like our business and stuff like that. And we do it together. So it's just a really fun day to be with your best friend all day and do things together and have family. And yeah, nothing too crazy. Kind of preparing for the delivery in August. We're having our baby in August or so. And so we're kind of staying put for the most part. No more flying to Florida or Tennessee or South Carolina or anything like that. So staying put, enjoying this time, and getting some work done.
Amazing. Well, Tati, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an incredible conversation. Congratulations again on the little one. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited to hear about how everything goes and how becoming a mama goes. It's really special time in your life. And for those who are listening around, follow Tati at Meat-Based Tati on Instagram, YouTube, etc. And you too will be able to follow along in her beautiful journey to become a mother and as a fitness coach and a health coach as well.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate it. Appreciate the both of you, Andrew, John. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and it was amazing meeting you guys at Meatstock and having that conversation. So thank you. I hope to see you again soon. And congrats again, and have so much fun. Enjoy your time and safe travels.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tati.